Beginning with the 2014-15 Fall 1 submissions, the CDE receives a weekly file of foster data from the California Department of Social Services, CDSS. The CDE conducts a statewide match on this foster data with student enrollment data in CALPADS on a weekly basis. The results of the foster youth matching provide LEA's reports through the CALPADS Operational Data Store, ODS. Students who have not been identified by this weekly match have gone unaccounted for until now. Additional functionality has been added to CALPADS that allows LEAs to identify unmatched students as foster. Unmatched foster students can now be manually matched using the Maintain Local Foster Match screen in CALPADS. To access this page, point to the State Reporting menu, then to Online Maintenance, and then click on Maintain Local Foster Match. The SENR online role, or SINF online roles, are required to access this screen. The LEA must know a student's SSID and either their foster case ID or foster client ID to request a foster match. The Maintain Local Foster Match screen has three functions. You can search for a single student who also has a corresponding record in the foster youth match results table, create a match between a submitted SSID and a record in the foster youth match results table, or reset the search fields so that they are blank. To search for a student, you begin by entering an SSID, and then enter either the 19-digit case ID or 10-character client ID. If you enter a client ID, make sure to click the Client ID radio button. Failure to input a valid SSID, case ID, or client ID will result in an error message and the search will not be performed. In this example, the case ID is not in a valid format. In this one, the case ID is in a valid format but cannot be found. Likewise, if the client ID is not in a valid format, we will get an error. Or if the client ID is in a valid format but is not found. If either the case ID or client ID is valid but has been previously found, a notification message will be displayed stating that the client ID has already been matched to a student. If either the case ID or client ID has not already been matched to an SSID, the student name, local ID, SSID, gender, birth date, language, and grade level are associated with the SSID are displayed on the screen. Also displayed below the abbreviated profile are the Create Match and Reset buttons. It is important to note that CALPADS does not check to ensure that you have the student enrolled and does not cross-check any demographic information between the SSID and foster data. The LEA creating the match must be very careful to ensure that they have associated the correct SSID with the case ID or client ID. If you are unsure that you have the correct match, click the Reset button to clear all fields and restart the match process. If you have verified that the SSID and the case ID or client ID belong to the same student, you may proceed by clicking the Create Match button. Upon clicking the Create Match button, only one of two possible events will occur. The match will be successful or unsuccessful. If the process is successful, CALPADS will link the SSID to the foster record and report match created. If the process is unsuccessful, the system returns the appropriate failure message, such as no match found, or multiple client IDs are associated with this case ID, no match possible, or client ID has already been matched to a student, or case ID has already been matched to a student. The student will show up in subsequent foster reports as a match after nightly processing runs. LEAs should decertify during the amendment window if they identify a foster youth match for a student who was enrolled on Census Day to include the student in their certification report 1.17. That concludes the local foster match mini tutorial. For additional information about this foster youth match or foster youth in CALPADS, please reference sections 11.1.14 and 15 of the CALPADS User Manual and section 3.1.3 of the CALPADS Data Guide. Also, please watch the Foster Youth Data in CALPADS mini tutorial that can be found at the address listed here to learn more about providing services to foster youth.